Welcome, everybody, once again to BIZ NFL Football 2019. It is week number 15. Glad to have everybody with me for another week of NFL football. Last week, we grinded out a small profit. Get to the results in a few minutes. Still a little under the weather. I've been fighting this little cold cough thing for a week and a half. It hasn't stopped me from sitting outdoors here in the East Bay. A little chilly and breezy, partly cloudy, but you know, if Le'Veon Bell could go bowling after a bout with the flu, I could sit outside with a sweatshirt and a beanie on and get through a video. This dude, when you have the flu, allegedly, and you can't play, just stay the fuck home. I don't want to hear the doctor said I should get out and move around a little bit. So I'm going to go bowling. And don't tell me he didn't have a couple of pops when he was bowling too. I used to bowl all the time. I was damn good too. I was. I drank all the time when I bowled. So don't tell me Le'Veon went out with the crew and didn't drink anything. That's just a bad look. If you can't play football, you can't bowl. Christ's sake. The crew is here. Stewie. I grabbed my laptop. This dude bolted off the couch, running around in circles. He could not wait to get started today. The BIZ. They're both here, ready to get going. I'm here and you're here. Very interesting week coming up here. I have a lot of plays that I passed. Very interesting plays. I passed them this week, and I want to go over those plays. Some good stuff to go over as to why we're passing plays. We'll track those, see how they do. But the playlist, a bit shorter this week. It's a smaller playlist. I do have a Florida Pete Biz combo play that we really like. It's a nice dog. Got a couple best bets, one of which is a teaser. Got the stinker of the week, makes its triumphant return. The stinker has been phenomenal this year. Stinker plays have been phenomenal. The Florida Pete Biz combo plays, another highly rated play throughout this season. So, some nice plays this week. Like I said, a shorter playlist. Not a problem. This week, my entire sports has been really great this week. I'm hitting some bomb hockey plays. Detroit was a bomb, plus 180 this week. 199 on Monday. Columbus. NBA is going good. My NCAA basketball pace plays have been on fire. If you're interested, hit me up. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. But we're running really good in all sports, and hopefully we can continue that for NFL week number 15. Biz and his crew have got you going. We're ready to go. And Eddie Money, thank you very much, sir. Here's last week's results. Grinded out a few dollars. Thursday night, Dallas fucked us twice. That first half under, ridiculous how they didn't get that home. Thanks for the third down stop, Cowboys. Skins, Packers under. I don't care if the number's 22. I'll take an under with Dwayne Haskins at the helm. I do have an under in his game this week. I hope I didn't mush it by talking shit about him. And remember, when I talk shit about somebody, they play well. So I'm going to retract that statement. I'm retracting the Dwayne Haskins comment. We have him under again this week. He's phenomenal. Denver, Houston, over. Flew over. Talked about that one last week. The bet splits the system. Really nice play. The Niner Orleans game. A best bet for the game. That first half should have also been a best bet. That is one of my top systems I have in my entire arsenal, that overplay, and that game went over by halftime. Just unbelievable, that system. So we started off with a nice stretch of wins, and then the Bengals Browns first half under. Dalton throws a pick six that cost us the cover. Carolina Atlanta, that game got out of control in the second half. Colts covering almost the entire game, and then they end up pushing. Chargers Jacksonville, an awful 2-unit play. Jacksonville just did not show up. These fuckers have quit. They flat out quit, and that game flew over. Pittsburgh and the under, a nice combo side total play there. Titans and Raiders were just another bad. That was just a bad decision. That should have been a 1-unit play. Why I made that 2 units, I'll never effing know. But I did, and it lost, and it wasn't close. But on Monday night, we came through with a couple wins. The under, first half and full game, finished under. So we went 8-6. Unfortunately, we had one extra 2-unit loser in there to keep the profits down, but we did get a fraction of a unit. So I thought the handicap was pretty good. The execution wasn't. So 8-6-1. Picked up some crumbs. You see there our season record. It is 105, 72-4. That is 59.3% on 177 plays. 20 units of profit. So the ironic thing is that the best bets have actually chopped into our profits. If you just bet every game equally, you'd have 33 wins less 7.2 units of juice. You'd actually be up about 25, almost 26 units if you didn't vary your units. So that is really, really solid. And you know, I'm on Twitter, and I see these guys on Twitter. They're everywhere. I mean, Twitter is like a breeding ground for people begging for your money to hand out plays. It's unreal. VIP this, locks here. It's just sickening. And I always tell people, if you're good enough, your plays are good enough, you should make your money through the windows, which is what I do, which is what hopefully you're all doing. Windy here. I do have people that send me money every once in a while as a thank you, which is cool, but I don't request it. I think that I used to have a distribution list where I used to charge people $100 a month, and honestly, it's a lot easier to do this when you're not beholden to people because they're sending you money. I think it's just a better way to go. And again, if you're any good, you don't need other people's money. Get it through the windows. Get it from the books. Take it from your local bookie. Alright, I talked long enough to listen to the entire ZZ Top Just Got Paid, which means only one thing: it's time to stop talking and to get on with the plays. Here's our first pass of the day. Hold on a second. Excuse me, guys. I am still congested, so I might have to clear my throat. Hope I don't discuss you too often today. The Lions, I have a nice system on them, a couple of them. We're fading a team that's the previous 3 games had a really good rushing defense, which is Tampa Bay. The rush defense is actually been very good this year. It's a non-divisional game, and they're not a road dog. That is the Bucks, and we're also playing on a team that had previously poor first half, which is the Lions. They were anemic last week, versus an opponent that previously scored a lot, which is Tampa. They scored 38. Normally I'd play this game, but Detroit has quarterback issues. This line shot up today to 5.5, and today and yesterday you see all these bet signals on Tampa Bay, and that is really causing me cause for concern. Marvin Jones, the wide receiver's out. They have a tackle that's out. Tampa Bay's a little banged up too. Mike Evans is out. Jameis Winston's battling a bad thumb. I mentioned last week how Jameis Winston is awful as a road favorite. And so I was really, really tempted to take the Lions in this game. But I'm just going to pass the game. I just don't want to get involved. These late season games, you get injuries, you have motivation, and a lot of factors come into play other than the stats. And earlier in the year, I'll pretty much just fire on any system that looks pretty solid, as long as there's nothing ridiculous going on as far as injuries or something, weather, whatnot. Later in the season, you really have to look a little deeper in these games and look at the injury situation. This NFL is such a war of attrition. It's such a physical game. Players get dinged around, injured, motivation. Teams that get knocked out of the playoffs really have a hard time the next week getting up for a game. So there are different things later in the season you have to look at. And this game I'm just going to pass. So I have several games this week that I am passing that would be plays based on the systems, and I'm going to show you several of them out throughout this so you could kind of see how I look at games and how I kind of decide whether or not to play or not play a game. So Detroit is going to be a very reluctant pass at 5.5. This is a game that we're not passing. It's the Philadelphia-Washington first half under. This is the one we played all year long. Lost last week with that Bengals-Browns. We're taking it this week. First half under 20. Eagles struggle offensively. The Redskins struggle offensively. It's a great system on its own, but when you get two struggling offenses, it certainly doesn't help. The number's 20, so we just need these teams to not score 3 touchdowns. We're going to take this Philly-Washington first half under, and as I said, we don't have, or there's not a whole lot to say about this. I talked about this system ad nauseum all year, so I don't want to spend a lot of time here. Eagles and the Redskins take the first half under 20. Here's another pass. It's a very reluctant pass. It's the Patriots and the Bengals under 41.5. We're going to pass this game. I have a lot of stuff on the screen. This game fits 4 systems. You see the records there. 53-23, 70-23 with a 9-5 this year, 33-5 with a 4-2 this year, 29-5 with a 6-1 this year. A home dog, a sizable home dog, 44-9, that's 4-3 this year. The Patriots' last 5 games, they struggle scoring 20, 17, 13, 22, and 16. The Bengals, they've scored 20 points 3 times all year. The last 4 games, the Bengals have allowed 27, 6 of which were a pick 6, 6, 16, and 17. So their defense is playing good. But this one bothers me because you've got the line ticked up a point. You've got 41% of the bets on the over, only 41% on the over, but 63% of the money on the over. So there's a sizable bet split there. The Bengals have Dalton playing again. He's played the last couple of weeks. They're playing pretty well offensively. The last few weeks after putting him back in after the Ryan Finley experiment. Mixon's playing well. If the Bengals score around 17-20, then this game's almost going to go over if New England wins. So if you think New England's going to win, the Bengals would have to score about 14, 17 at the most. So I think the Bengals might be able to score some points here. And even though I have a lot of really good systems, there's something about this game that just feels odd to me, to where I think there's going to be some points scored. Excuse me. So I'm going to pass this game also. Let me get something to drink here, guys. Just a second. I'm going to pass this New England-Cincinnati game reluctantly. This is like if there's ever a game that I was going to play, it's this one on the ones on my pass list. This would be the first one I would play, but I'm just going to take the under. I just have a weird feeling about this game that they're going to score some points. So a reluctant pass. Here's another game. I'll show you the game on the next screen. We have a divisional game under. Second out of the season looks really solid. 142-57. That's 71%. It's been 6-3 first this year. The teams we've hit on this have been the Philly Giants last Monday, the Raider Kansas City game a few weeks ago, that Ram Arizona game a few weeks ago. But we are going to pass the Houston Tennessee under 51. And the reason for that is since Ryan Tannehill has taken over for the Titans, they've gone over every game. He's started 7 games. They've gone over 7 times. This game opened at 48.5. It shot up to 51. 73% of the bets, 90% of the money. The market is just being flooded with over money. And while it's never a bad thing to fade the public, I think this is sharp and public money on this. You also see a home favorite that's had 6 games or more to the over recently, a over streak of 6 or more if you're a home favorite. Those games have gone 25-15 to the over, which the Titans have triggered. So I'm staying away from this total. It's gone up to 51. So if you were to play the under, you got some great closing line value, but I'm not going to get in front of that train that is the Titans and the over with Tannehill. I think Deshaun Watson can put up some points. I just don't want to get involved in this total with the way Tannehill is playing with this team. So we're going to take a pass on this one. This Houston, Tennessee under 51. That is another pass. That's the 3rd game we're going to pass. Here's a game we're not passing. It's the Dolphins getting 3.5. Right now, I think it ticked down to 3. I sent this out earlier in the week when it's 3.5. It's down to 3, but it's juiced for the favorite. So if you want to get 3.5, I think it'll cost you like maybe -115 if you want to get that half point. We got a bad road team off of a road loss second half of the season. It's 74-30, but it's only 1-4 this year. However, when they're playing a team that's poor, which is 35% or less, this record goes to 24-5, 82%. The Dolphins are playing hard for Flores. People thought early in the season they're just going to tank. They're going to lose every game. They just want the #1 pick. And when you're a first-year coach, the last thing you want to do is promote a culture of losing. I thought that was just a really ridiculous narrative that, the Dolphins are going to suck. They want the first pick. First of all, the first pick isn't like John Elway. All right, when John Elway is sitting there, and then you tank. But Joe Burrow's the #1 pick. He's a nice quarterback. I don't think he's all world. Chase Young's a nice player too. There's a lot of solid players near the top of the draft. Unless there's just a surefire can't miss, you don't lose games on purpose. Especially when you have a first-year coach coming from a winning organization like Brian Flores, the former Patriot coordinator. He's not going to come to Miami and say, all right, guys, let's try to lose every game. They've been playing really well. They play hard every week. They got robbed last week against the Jets in the stadium. They're going to play in this week. And they have been playing well with Fitzpatrick. I'll take that field goal in the hook. They're playing the Giants just off of a tough road Monday night short week overtime loss against a division rival where they had a 2-touchdown lead in the game. Tough loss. So Eli's back at quarterback, and everybody thinks that Eli back home playing. He's still Eli. I'll take the Dolphins getting 3.5 against the Giants. So let's take Miami. This next game has a ton of systems, and we're passing a ton. There they are right there. The road dog off of a home loss. 30-9, 3-0 this year. We're playing against a favorite off of a loss, which their opponent is also off of a big loss. 57-18, 2-0 this year. The dog off the blowout loss we played this year. We're playing on a road dog off of a home loss, allowed 40 or more. Those are the systems, and this is the team we're passing. We're passing the Jaguars. There's another road dog system off of a awful home loss. We're going to, fade the Raiders, a previous year bad team, off a double-digit loss. Their previous 2 games, poor delta points allowed, which is you're allowing more points than you're supposed to. They got blown out by the Chiefs, or the Chiefs scored a ton. The Titans scored a ton. Supposed to play against that team. And here's that final system, playing on a dog that wasn't a road favorite off of a blowout spread loss. This also fits a game rating system that a friend of mine has that triggers Jacksonville. But with all of those systems in play, I am passing the Jags that are traveling to Oakland for the Raiders' final home game of the season. Now, You might say, well, if the Raiders can't get up to play the Jets, the Chiefs, and the Titans with their playoff hopes on the line, why on earth would their final home game matter? And it will matter. Jacksonville is also banged up. They got two linebackers out, and their two linebackers, graded out by Pro Football Focus, they're two of the worst linebackers in football. They allow a ton of yardage and catches to running backs. This team has quit. Florida Pete and I have talked about this for weeks. This fucking team has quit. They single-handedly destroyed the under the previous week when they played the Chargers. Ever since that Jalen Ramsey trade, they've been a complete mess. They've got a lame duck coach in Doug Marrone. I don't think these guys give two shits about anything other than self-preservation. And so you cross out with the Raiders playing their final home game in Oakland. That's a big deal, and the players know it, the coaches know it. It's going to be a packed house, and I just don't want any part of the Jacksonville Jaguars tomorrow in Oakland, despite the fact that every single piece of data that I have system-wise would make them a 2-unit play tomorrow. I can't do it. So we're going to pass the Jags, and we're also passing the under in this game. You see, I have 4 systems on the under. It went from 45.5 to 47. Then you see the bet splits I put there: 79% bets, 97% money. I put this yesterday. The lines ticked up. I want no part of this. This under with a bad Raider defense, a bad Jags defense. I'm just not. I don't want any part of this. And you see, these systems are really, really good, but I don't want any part of this game whatsoever. So we're going to pass the side. We're going to pass the total, Jacksonville and the Raiders. Here's a game we're not going to pass, and it's the Cleveland Browns at -2. This game is now -3. I gave this out during the week at -2. I have one system only on this, but a lot of outside factors that make me like this game. Let's start with the system. We're going to fade a team that's within a field goal, plus or minus, they're either a field goal or a favorite or a dog within 3 points of the line. They're off of a home dog loss, which is the Cardinals, where they turned the ball over, and their opponent previously allowed a lot of yards, which is the Browns. A lot of things going on here. You've got Baker Mayfield playing against Cliff Kingsbury, who benched him at Texas Tech. They got that thing going on. You got the Cleveland defensive coordinator, Steve Wilks. He was the Cardinals coach last year, and he was fired after one season. They didn't give this guy a season. One season with a shit team, and they fire him. He is now the Cleveland defensive coordinator. His linebacker coach is also, who's been traveling with him with Carolina, went to Arizona. He got fired along with Wilks after a year, so he's now the linebacker coach with Wilks with Cleveland. Freddie Kitchens was actually a coach with the Cardinals back in 2017. He was a running backs coach. So you have 3 coaches that used to coach for the Cardinals that were unceremoniously booted. Wilks was the DC for Carolina from 2011 to 2017 for 6 years. He had a great defense. They led the league in sacks over that span with 311. And last year with the Cardinals, his team was tied for 5th in the league with 49. So he is a coach that can really get after the quarterback. Currently, the Browns are 12th in sacks with 37, so they're above the league average getting sacks. Murray has had a hard time avoiding sacks. He's been sacked 46 times this year, which is 29th in the league. Last week, the Rams sacked him 5 times. He's also thrown 4 picks the last couple weeks, and the last 3 weeks, he's thrown for less than 200. He is really struggling. I think the league has maybe gotten a little bit of a blueprint on how to defend him. They have a hard time protecting him. In their 3 wins, Arizona's 3 wins, their opponents are 7-32. Awful. They've beaten 3 awful teams. They haven't beaten a team with a winning record since the last week of 2017. This defense is horrible. They've allowed 400 or plus yards and 27 or more points in 9 of 13 games. Horrible. They've had 2 games where they've allowed 500 or more. They've had 6 games where they've allowed 30 or more. The Browns, they've beaten the Ravens, the Bills, and the Steelers, and they still have an outside chance on a wild card. So when you put all of these things together, I really, really like the Browns this week at -2. The only way they could lose this game is they're just a complete dysfunctional mess, which is possible with the whole OBJ thing and Mayfield popping off about his training staff. This guy's a complete fucking moron. He reminds me of Jameis Winston, where the sooner you get rid of this guy, the better. Cleveland needs to cut bait with this guy. Mark my words. I said the same thing about Jameis Winston years ago, and I'll say it about this guy. The Browns are never going to win with this guy. He is a bust. They blew a first-round pick on him, and the sooner that they figure that out, the better off they'll be. But for tomorrow, we need him just to play as a competent NFL quarterback. The Browns should win this game, and I really like the Browns. Another pass. I have a system on the Vikings, kind of a funky system, but it's a Sunday home game. The reason it's a Sunday home game is because when it's a Thursday, Monday, or Saturday, there's a very, very small sample size of those games, but the games are like 500 or losing. On Sundays, regular rest, regular way of doing things. This system is 27-5. It's 2-1 this year. It's previously, they were a good team last year. They're off of a win as a favorite. This is the Vikings, or actually the Chargers. Excuse me, the Chargers. Last year they were a good team. They won as a favorite. The Chargers at Jacksonville. The previous 3 games they had good offense. The Chargers have been really playing well lately. They've gotten a lot of guys back from injury. Okung is back. Their defense, Derwin James is back, and so despite the Vikings being triggering a play in the system, I'm going to pass them. As you can see on the screen there, all of the bet signals are on the Chargers. Just a slew of bet signals on the Chargers. The Vikings are 7-12 on grass the last 3 years. You see the money line percentage I put there. 70% of the money line is on the Vikings. 70%. But over half, 52% is on the Chargers. That is very, very telling. And that makes me pass the Vikings without a second thought. And I did include the Chargers in some teasers that we will be playing later. I really, really like the Chargers. I almost want to play them by themselves also. I might add that play on Twitter. Last week I made that comment about the Falcons during the presentation. It says I really like the Falcons. I may add it on Twitter. I didn't. I said they were going to drill. I said they would probably drill the Panthers. I forgot to add it on Twitter. I didn't play it. I mentioned they drilled the Panthers. I got that same feeling about this game. I think the Chargers are going to play a good game and beat the Vikings. So I might add that play as a Twitter play on the Chargers. But we're going to pass the Vikings, which come up as a system play. I am taking the over 45. It's a small line, ±3 within a field goal. A non-divisional game where the team was previously a home favorite, and it's a road sandwich game. This is the Vikings to trigger this. It's 20-3 and 1-0 this year. So let's take the Vikings and the Chargers to go over 45. It's a non-conference game, which oftentimes are high scoring. So let's take the over in this game, Vikings Chargers, and I possibly might add the Chargers as a play on Twitter. All right. Wind's kicking up again. We'll let me get something to drink here. Let Pink Floyd play a little bit here. Let me get something. Excuse me for a moment here. I have no systems at all on this game. It's a strictly situational. And the BIZ stinker is the Atlanta Falcons. 11.5. The Pinnacle line is 11.5. All of my plays are pulled from Pinnacle. It's the sharpest book out there. I notice a lot of lines are 10.5, 11, 10.5. Pinnacle has 11.5. This is the stinker of the week. We've had the Jets as a stinker, the Raiders as a stinker. We've had, I can't think of the other games, but they've been wretched looking teams, and they cover. And this is one more. The Falcons getting 11.5. For the life of me, I can't think of any other stinkers off the top of my head. It's very disappointing. I should have wrote him down. I didn't. So, why do I like this game? I think this is just a prime letdown spot for the Niners. This is such a tough spot for them, a spot to take a breath. They just played the Packers on Sunday Night Football. They fly across country to play Baltimore in that tough, physical, rainy weather game. Tough loss at the buzzer, at the gun. .48-yard field goal for the win for Baltimore. And then they played the Saints last week on another game, physical, high-scoring, a game won at the gun on another field goal. Next week, they got the Rams on deck in a Saturday night primetime game, a huge game. And this is a game that's just a sandwich game. It's a tough game to get up for. Since the bye, the Falcons are 3-2 with an average point differential of over a touchdown plus 8.4. They beat the Saints 26-9 at the Superdome. They stomped Carolina. They've been playing some pretty decent football recently, and this is just a lot of points that the Niners are giving up in this spot. The Falcons, they stomped Carolina twice. They did lose to Tampa Bay at home, and then they played the Saints tough at home too, losing by 8. So they played the Seahawks tough at home in a loss. I'm looking at their record, but they played a lot better recently. And the Niners, under Shanahan, they're 4-9 against the spread as a favorite, and they're 1-7 against the spread as a favorite, coming off a game that they covered. I just think that this is a real tough game for the Niners to just blow out a team after this tough stretch they've had. They just need a win. All they need to do is win. It's just a lot of points to cover against a team that's playing somewhat decently. Both teams are really banged up. The Niners, D Ford's out, Richard Sherman's out a couple weeks. Tart, their safety's out. Their center lost for the season in last week's game. Falcons are also suffering some losses against the offensive line. They've had some trouble protecting Ryan, which is a concern against this defense. But all in all, I'll grab these points with Atlanta. The Niners have bigger fish to fry. They don't need to stomp this team. Ironically, Shanahan used to be the offensive coordinator for the Falcons when they had that brutal loss in the Super Bowl. Some things working there. I don't think that this is a game the Niners have to crush and win. I think they just want to get out of this game with a win. So we'll take the Falcons getting all those points as our BIZ stinker of the week. Alright, I had to let that play a little bit. I like my music. Pink Floyd. My all-time favorites. A band that back in high school, some great weed smoking music. Alright, enough of that. Another pass, the Colts. They're 10 on Pinnacle. They're 9 in a lot of books. It's a really nice system, actually. We're fading a home team, the Saints, that previously were favored, and they allowed a lot more yards than their season average in that wild shootout with the Niners, and they allowed a lot of first downs. It's 25-4, 6-0 this year. It's a perfect 6-0, and more often than not, this would just be a no-brainer. Play the Colts, but I just can't do it. They're off of a loss on the road last week to Tampa Bay, which pretty much eliminated them from playoff contention. They're dealing with their own set of injuries, and I just wonder how much juice they'll have left in the tank off of a loss that pretty much eliminated their season hopes for the playoffs. Saints still have something to fight for. They're fighting for that bye week. They're tied with the Falcons for the second spot to get that opening week bye in the playoffs, which is huge. And I think the Saints at home on Monday night, they have they might just end up blowing out the Colts here. It's a game I'm just going to pass. This were 3 weeks ago, I'd be on the Colts and I wouldn't think twice. But I can't do it. I can't take the Colts coming off of that loss last week, which pretty much ended their season. So this is a reluctant pass on the Colts. Getting all those points, we're going to pass the Colts. A couple teasers I like here. We have a couple systems in play. The play-on team is Seattle, a road favorite. They're playing a team over the last 4 games where they have an equal or a poor record, which is the Panthers. They fired their coach. They didn't show up last week. I still think they got a hangover from that. A lot of people think that the Panthers are going to bounce back, and I just don't see it. This is a great system. It's 40-16, 7-3 on the year, and I think Seattle's a great tease here. They're still fighting for the division title. A loss here would be just devastating to them because they still have the division in play. So I like the Seahawks as a pick here, and the Bills getting 7.5 here. We're playing against a team with a better record. Previously a road favorite. That was the... hold on, which one is this one? Better record, previous road favorite, non-divisional. Opponent is a good rush team. It says fade better record. I don't know if that's quite accurate. I think I miswrote that. And because that doesn't sound right. Let me see if I could real quickly give me a brief moment on this. Let me see what exactly this is. Yes, I know, very unprofessional. Don't have my shit together, but all right. And give me a moment. Get something to eat or drink real quick. Oh, come on. Anyway, the Bills are a play. I want to tease them. This is a low total. It's a very low-scoring game that is anticipated. I love that Buffalo defense. I think this game will be a field goal game, and as such, we're going to take the Bills to cover a teaser. So Seattle and Buffalo are 2 teams I want to put together in a teaser. The other one is the Chargers, Cowboys, and Buffalo. I really like Buffalo this week as a teaser play. The Chargers, despite that system, I'm going to take them as a teaser. I think they just beat the Vikings this week. And I'm also throwing Dallas in there, getting a 7.5. I know that if they lose the game, they're still in play to win the division. But after losing to the Bears and looking like crap lately, they lost to the Patriots. Coming home, if they can't cover a touchdown against the Rams, then they're truly a mess. So I'm going to take a 3-team teaser here. The Chargers, the Cowboys, and the Bills in a 6-point teaser. And I'm going to take the Seahawks and Buffalo in another 2-team teaser. So those are a couple teasers. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I had to clear my throat, and I did not want to do that on the microphone. So, a couple teasers right there. These are the games we are passing. And we're going to revisit these next week to see how good or bad these decisions were. We're passing the Lions, getting the 5.5, the Houston, Tennessee under, the Patriot Bengal under, Jacksonville and the under, the Vikings and the Colts. 7 games I passed. of those games, the one that I have that I would play with a gun to my head would probably be the New England Cincinnati under. If I had to pick one team to take off that list, probably be the Patriots and Bengals. By the way, just pulled up that. Oh, that system I just talked about. It was a previous road favorite, so I miswrote. It's a previous road favorite. And they don't have a better record. That isn't part of it. So I gotta rewrite that one. Sorry about that. It's not a team with a better record. That Buffalo system. So anyway. All right. So those are the games that we're going to pass, and as I said, we will revisit those next week. So here are our plays. And you know what I did? I went back and I took the Cowboys out of that teaser. I forgot I did that. I took the Cowboys out. We're just going to go with those two teasers. So here are the plays. Just two games in the morning. That Philadelphia Washington under first half 20. The Dolphins getting 3 and a hook. If your book has 3, just take the 3. If it's cheap to buy the half, buy the half. If the Dolphins are +3 at plus money, wouldn't be bad to just take that hook. So just the two games in the morning. In the afternoon games, we have Cleveland -2. Might be up to 3 now, but it was given out as 2 on my distribution list, which I've told you guys to get on. Vikings, Chargers, over 45. Let's take that over. And the stinker, Atlanta, +11.5. So 5 games there, 2 teasers. The Seahawks and the Bills. I think that should be pick. Seattle at a pick. I don't know what I'm doing here. Seattle says -0.5. They're favored by 6, so that should be a pick. Seattle as a pick. Buffalo 7.5. That's one 2-team teaser. And the other one, the Chargers and Buffalo, each getting 7.5, 7.5, depending on your book. Some books have 1 for each team. Some have 1.5. But that is the other teaser I like to play. So 7 plays this week. And there they are. All right. Moving along. The vaunted Florida Pete BIZ combo play. I think next week I'm going to add up the record for the stinker and the combo plays. And yes, the BIZ and Stewie best bets, which are below 500. See how those are doing. But Pete loves this play. I like to play. So we made it the combo play. Atlanta Falcons getting 11.5. I talked about it. It's a 2-unit play. Combo plays. Pete BIZ combo plays are 2 units. Atlanta +11.5. It's a bad spot for the Niners. Just you cannot come out every week and fire on all cylinders and have max intensity. I see this as a natural letdown spot for the Niners off those 3 tough games. The Rams on deck on a short week. They play Saturday night, prime time, at home against the Rams. Huge game. This is a huge sandwich game for the Niners, and I think they just want to get out with a win. Now, the Falcons turn it over and do some stupid shit. Yeah, they could lose by 2 scores and we lose, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Falcons can keep this relatively close and cover that big number. So, the Florida Pete BIZ combo play, Atlanta +11.5. All right. Our fresh best bets haven't been very fresh lately. The BIZ is going to take that teaser, Chargers and Buffalo. Like that teaser. That's a 2-unit teaser, Chargers and Buffalo. I think the Chargers just win that game. And I like Buffalo to keep this game close. My only concern with Buffalo this week is it's not really a crucial game, but in a game where you have two really good defenses and a low total, this game should be with a field goal game. I really like Buffalo as a teaser here. So the Chargers in Buffalo, a 6-point teaser. That's what the Biz is going to take. Stu is going to get on track with the Browns. He likes the Browns. We talked about that game. In addition to that one system, there are so many storylines running through this game with Wilkes, the defensive coordinator for the Browns, fired after a year with Arizona last year. His linebacker coach was sent along with him. Kitchens was a former coach there. You got Baker going against his former college coach that benched him, that made him end up making a decision to transfer. You've got those horrific Arizona stats defensively. You got Kyler Murray kind of struggling lately. And Cleveland still has a small chance at a playoff berth. They're not eliminated. So we're going to take the Browns as a Stewie best bet. Got a teaser, and you've got the Browns. All right. There is my contact information. If you want to get a hold of me about anything, if you want on my distribution list, email me, biz112763 at gmail.com. Get on my Twitter, follow my Twitter at bizwinners, at bizwinners. I do add plays. Dumbass should have added the Falcons last week, which I didn't. I may add the Chargers this week. I don't know. We're having a really solid week with the hockey, with the NCAA basketball. I've got some systems that I run for college basketball. They're based on pace, and they've been really, really, really good. Back tested really well this week, or this season so far. They've been really good. Those guys that are on my list, get them every day, and they've been really solid. We started off today with a solid win. Oregon, Michigan, first half under. It's a pace play. It went way under. I think they scored like 54 points on a 60-something total. So those are a couple plays that I like. The hockey, we hit Detroit at plus 180 the other night. We hit a 199 dog on Monday. We had a 200-something dog and a 180 dog in the same night last week. So hockey is really good. I love my college basketball. If you're interested, and the NBA's been really solid also. We had another winning night last night on the NBA, 4-3. Those plays are going well. So if you're interested in other sports, hockey, basketball, college, or pro, hit me up. Email me. Get on my list. I had a ton of people join my list. I'm sure a lot of them are you folks that listen and watch my videos. I must have had 15 people this week join the list. So thanks for your support and your interest, and welcome to all of you that have joined the list. If you're interested, hit me up at the email that I listed. Thumbs up, subscribe. Thumbs up to my videos if you like them. I'm still having people, you guys are still having a hard time finding that button because I don't get a lot of thumbs up, but it's okay. Hit it and spread the word. If you know people that like to bet on football or anything, say, yo, Biz, that's the guy. Don't go on Twitter and look for these clowns like Big Nickel, these other guys begging for your money with their VIP list, their VIP club. They're a lock of the day. Carmine Genovese, he's not on Twitter, he just sends emails. The bookie killer, Frank Bonanno. Got mobsters. You got these guys that just are begging for your money. And I'll say it once, I'll say it again. If you're any good, then you'll get your money through the windows. You don't have to beg people for money. I've had people like I said, I used to charge people. I just quit doing it. It's just not worth the hassle. I do have people that send me money. They Venmo me. They PayPal. Hey, BIZ, thanks for your work. Appreciate what you do. They'll shoot me something. Other than that, I don't expect anything from anybody. I enjoy the work. I enjoy sharing it. I enjoy helping people win. And hopefully I'm good enough that people can win. So there you go. That'll do it. I want to thank all of you for hanging out with me, for supporting the work, for flying through the season with me. It's been a great year so far. We have a long way to go still. We have 3 weeks of regular season. We have 4 weeks of playoffs. I will have my bowl plays out next week. I'm thinking of doing a video for each week's bowl. So the bowl games up through probably Saturday or in the following week. I'm gonna try my best to get a video out. If I can't do it, I'll send them out on my email list. But I'm gonna really try to get a video out for bowls. Probably put out 2 or 3 different videos. I want to wait until games kind of arrive to see who's playing, who's sitting out, any kind of line moves, anything going on with the game. So I'll try to get that done. All right, a compact playlist this week, and which isn't a bad thing. I really like the plays. I really like our best bets. I like our team to plays. I hope you guys all enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football. I'll be back next week with another video. Hopefully get a college bowl video out. So again, if you're interested in other plays, college basketball, NBA basketball, hockey, whatnot, hit me up on my email. Have a great day, a great weekend. Thanks again for your support and interest, and I will see you next week. Mark Knopfler and the crew will take you out. We'll see you next week.
He's got a daytime job. He's doing all right. He can play the honky tonk like anything. Saving it up Friday night with the Sultans, with the Sultans of swing. Crowd of young boys, they're fooling around in the corner, drunk and dressed in their best brown baggies in their platform soles. They don't give a damn about any trumpet playing band. It ain't what they call rock and roll. And the Sultans, yeah, the Sultans that play Creole. Creole. are the Sultans. We are the Sultans